Okay. There we go. Now we getting the hang of this thing. All right. Perfect. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm your instructor, Pierre Huey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. All right. Today is Monday. Today, y'all know how we do this now. All y'all should know me by now and what I do. But I'll tell you, for those that don't know, I help people pass their barber exam. I help people pass their barber practical so you can get your license and all that good stuff. All right. My my days correspond to the domain. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it corresponds to the domains of the CIB, which stands for the Candidate Information Bulletin. And good morning, Big Aries. Look, if y'all not following my friend Big Aries, go follow her right this second. Wonderful person, wonderful person, and she be on them shows like I be on them shows, but that's another story. But yeah, so Monday through Thursday corresponds to the domains for the CIB. What is the CIB, you may ask? For those that don't know, it's the Candidate Information Bulletin. Is where state board tells you what they're looking for when it's time to take the test. For me, my state is South Carolina. All right, and for all my YouTubers, Instagrammers, Facebookers, etc., y'all can see it. I'm going to share my screen, and I have the CIB uploaded, which we will talk about. And then if you are on TikTok and you need to see the CIB, you can just join one of my other channels to where you can see it. But if not, you can listen, because we are going to talk about it. We're going to go through it. Okay. Rich, what's happening? I don't know how you say that. Levi, 617. I'll put it like that. Good morning. All right. So, like I was talking about the domains, you got 4 domains in South Carolina CIB. You got scientific concepts, which is 35%. You have implements, tools, and equipment, which is 10%. Haircare services, which is 40%. And you got facial hair and skincare services, which is 15%. So the biggest percentage is hair care services, but we talk about that on Tuesday. Now, the question is, why do we talk about scientific concepts at 35% on Monday versus, wait for it, on Tuesday? Here's the biggest reason why. Scientific concepts is the most troublesome. It is the most worrisome for people. It is the one everybody is afraid of. It is the one that is the most failed. People fail that one the most. Anytime somebody fails the test and sends me a score report, because when you take the test and you fail, they're going to send you a score report. They're going to tell you what you failed on. Okay. If you pass, they don't send you all that. If you fail, they send you the score report. The one that I've seen the most questions missed over and over and over by far is scientific concepts. It is the one people want to study the least. And it is the biggest reason why I got into doing this online in the first place. Okay. So we are going to talk about that one today. I'm going to make the screen bigger. And I do what I call public study. Public study just means we go over the book in general. We go over concepts from the book in general. What book am I talking about? Milady Standard Barbering, which is the 6th edition. Y'all, we only got 3 more weeks before I get to see this new book. Big Bang Hank, what's up, bro? How you doing? What's up, young lady? Look, if y'all ain't following my girl Nikki, go follow FedEx Girl 1980. All right. Okay, so we're studying Milady Standard Edition, 6th edition, and like I said, 3 weeks. They got the new book. Hopefully, they got some new content. But I will say this: they are stepping into the future with the technology and getting that together. I was a part of the overview where they was talking about it. So we will be studying from a new book in the next couple of weeks. But the material will be the same. All right. And my study session will be the same too. All right. None of that's changing. All right. Okay. So you got 5 points of contact. You got A, infection control safety practices. B, human anatomy and physiology. C, identify signs, symptoms, and of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to the skin. D is all of that related to the hair. And E is basic chemistry of products used in barbering. All right, now, by request, I'm going to go through this whole thing before we find a concept to study in the first place. Because here's the thing, knowing your CIB is, I used to say 50%. I'll probably say it's as high as 60%. Knowing your CIB, knowing it backwards and forwards, knowing what to study, having focused, concentrated study, it'll get you there rather than just studying the book over and over and over again, not having a CIB, not having that focus, not having an idea of, again, what they're looking for. So it's not exactly a cheat code, but we'll say it is a very strong guideline, okay? Part A, infection control safety practices. Identify how disease and infection are caused and transmitted. Number 2, apply principles of infection control. So you got sanitation, cleaning, disinfection, sterilization, contamination, and cross-contamination. Okay. 3, apply blood exposure procedures. 4, identify requirements of government agencies related to public protection. That is the CDC, OSHA, and the EPA. Knowing who they are and what all of that means, okay? B, human anatomy and physiology. This one scares a lot of my students. Don't be scared of this, okay? Here's why. You got 4 points of contact, and they're not bad. Number 1, identify function and structure of the hair and scalp and of the skin, okay? 2, identify bones related to the head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Okay, with this being the CIB, they just told you what they looking for. They didn't say they was looking for bones related to the legs. They're not worried about your knees. They're not worried about your ankles. They're not worried about your pelvic bone. They're not worried about your ribs and your spine. Identify bones related to the head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Okay, so a lot of that chapter on anatomy and physiology, you got 206 bones in the body. They only worried about the ones with the head and face, neck, shoulders, up and back. I don't remember exactly how many that is, but I'll tell you this, it's not 206, so you don't have to know all that. 3, identify muscles and joints and their functions related to, guess what? The head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Do y'all see a pattern here? So if you deal with if you look at anything as far as anatomy with the head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back, you probably got it. You're probably prepared for that part. Okay. And then 4, understand the functions of body systems. You have 4. It's not like you got 30. Okay. A, nervous system. B, circulatory system. C, endocrine system. And D, the integumentary system. All right. And they're not even looking for all the particulars. They just want to know, do you know the functions of the body systems? All right. Okay. C, point of contact. Identify signs and symptoms of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to skin. You have the types and you got the treatments. Same thing for the hair. Signs and symptoms of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to the hair. You have the types and you got the treatments of conditions, disorders, diseases related to hair. Okay. E, basic chemistry of products used in barbering. Here's another one that scares people more than it should. All right. So here's the thing. You got different ways that they use chemistry in the CIB. You got general chemistry, just knowing what chemistry is. You got chemistry for the products used in barbering, and then you got chemistry of the services that you're doing. Okay. So when we talking chemistry of products, we're talking shampoos, we're talking conditioners, we're talking colors, knowing the different types of colors, semi-permanent, permanent, et cetera, and the chemistry of the products, meaning understanding the pH scale, understanding the purpose and effects of the products, ingredients, and their interaction. So meaning okay, well, what effect does color have? Now, first of all, color is already made up of chemicals, but that's not what they're talking about on this point right here. They're talking about, okay, what effect on the hair does this chemical have? If you're using permanent color and you add permanent color, you add a volume developer to this permanent color and you put it in the hair, they want to know in this section, what is the interaction of that chemical on your hair? They're not asking what's the chemical makeup of that. That's for a different section, okay? That's in the chemistry section, just the overall chemistry section. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's such a difference between the CIB. That's the difference between somebody that looks at the CIB and somebody that doesn't. You're able to break it down like this, so you're able to study the differences. Like I said, there are 3 different ways that they deal with chemicals for the test. And so that goes with the questions that they ask. And here's another thing while I'm talking about that. So when they send your score report back, they're going to send your score report back by the questions missed per domain. They're not going to say, oh, okay, well, you missed questions asking about understanding interactions among chemicals. Oh, you missed part E, number 4, understanding chemical reactions, as in overexposure, chemical burn, and inhalation. They're not going to tell you that. All they're going to say is, you missed these questions in scientific concepts. And a lot of people get upset, which I understand why. Because I was one of those people that used to call state board and ask them about that. Okay. But a lot of people get upset because they'll say, all right, well, you missed this many questions in scientific concepts. And they're like, well, that doesn't tell me what to study. Here's the thing. They expect you to read the CIB. They expect you to know what to study off of the CIB. That's why they do that. So I don't think they're going to change that anytime soon. I mean, it would be great if they changed it and they said, all right, look, you missed this many sections. You missed 9 questions in scientific concepts. 2 was in infection control. 1 was in anatomy, physiology. 3 was in signs and symptoms of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to skin. That would be great if they did that, but I haven't seen them do it I've been an instructor now going on 10 years. I've never seen them do it that way. But again, their expectation for you, dear student, dear barber, dear stylist, esthetician, nail tech that's taking this test, they expect you to read and study and understand the CIB. Again, what does it stand for? The Candidate Information Bulletin. And any of these tests that you're taking, they have a CIB for. Okay. All right. We went through all of those. Five points of reference, A, B, C, D, and E. We went through all of those. All right, cool. Now we're going to find where we left off. Let's see. I think last week we did identifying the bones related to the head and face. Yeah, we did part 2. So today we are going to do part 3. Identify muscles and joints and their functions related to the head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Now, I will anytime I do public study, I'll break them down into sections and little bitty pieces because I have surmised that you guys do not pay attention past a certain point. So I'm not going to try to bore you all day studying this stuff, especially when you have homework and you can study this stuff on your own. Okay. All right. For my students, I am not going to lie to y'all. 15 minutes, they was out of there. They checked out mentally. They checked out 15 minutes. But I have had requests from people that are highly motivated to take just a little bit longer. So I'm feeling good today. I have not had my coffee, but I still feel good today. All right. I did get my rest. Okay, so muscles and joints. I like to go to the index first, but you are more than welcome. If you got your book with you, you can go to the table of contents at the beginning of the book. Let's see here. So, muscles. There we go. Muscular system, body system that covers, shapes, and supports the skeletal tissue. And then they have subsection of the head, face, and neck. 305, 306. Then they got, do they have neck, shoulders, and upper back? No, but we can come back to that because they got of the scalp, face, and neck. Those are very pertinent. So let's start with 305. Okay, let's talk about muscles. Let's talk about nerves, arteries, etc., etc. Okay, muscles, nerves, arteries of the head, face, and neck. 3 of the subdermal systems associated with the performance of, say, facial treatments. Okay, muscles, fibrous tissues that have the ability to stretch and contract to produce all body movements. Nerves are long, white, fibrous cords that act as message carriers from the brain, spinal column, to and from all parts of the body. The arteries, elastic, muscular, thick-walled blood vessels that transport blood under high pressure. And veins are thin-walled vessels that contain valves, keep the blood flowing to the heart and prevent it from flowing backward. All right, the main thing we're going to be dealing with today, though, is muscles. So I'm going to say that one more time, all right? Muscles are fibrous tissues that have the ability to stretch and contract to produce all body movements. So keyword there is stretch and contract. Sometimes when they ask you the questions on the test, they will give you context clues and they will use something like stretch and contract. All right, well, cool. We know that's dealing with muscles. All right, we're going to talk about let's talk about the muscles of the head, face, and neck. All right, in your book there's a table that got all of them. Okay, here's the thing. We're going to assume any of them talking about the head, face, and neck are going to be important. So they got a diagram. I can't show it because it is copyrighted material. What I can say is go to your book, Milady Standard. You can probably even look this up, muscles of the scalp, face, and neck. Okay. All right, cool. So first you have the epicranius, not to be confused with the cranium. All right. Epicranius, also known as the occipital frontalis. It is located on the scalp. The description and function: it is the broad muscle that covers the top of the skull. All right, it don't get more important than that. Here's what I like to do, y'all. You want to identify as a barber the ones that you say, okay, I know I'm gonna see this when I'm cutting hair. I know I'm gonna see this when I'm dealing with shampooing, scalp massage, things of that nature. All right. So you want to think about this in 3 dimensions. And what I mean by that is, what are the ones that you're going to see that you're going to be applying something to? Whether you're performing a service, whether you're doing a chemical service, whether you're doing shampoo, whether you're doing conditioner, any of this stuff. When you're talking about massage, stimulation, when you're talking about aesthetics, all this stuff, you want to say, all right, which one of these are going to be more important? Epicranius is important as hell because it covers so much ground. Okay, so you got the epicranius, you got the frontalis, location, scalp, muscle at the front portion of the epicranius that draws the scalp forward and causes wrinkles across the forehead. That is the frontalis. You see this going on right here? You see that? Frontalis. All right. Then you have the occipitalis. It is located at the scalp. It is the muscle at the back part of the epicranius. It draws the scalp backward. Now, you know where the occipital bone is, so where do you think the occipitalis muscle is, right? They coincide. Next, you got the epicranial aponeurosis, location, scalp. It is the tendon that connects the occipitalis and the frontalis. All right. All right. Next. Again, we're looking for things that are the most pertinent, right? So you have the eyebrows. You got the orbicularis oculi. It is the muscle that surrounds the eye socket. It closes the eyelid. You got the corrugator, also eyebrows. Muscle beneath the frontalis and orbicularis oculi that draws the eyebrows down and in and wrinkles the forehead vertically. Okay, good morning, y'all. Next, you got the procerus, located at the nose. It is the muscle covers the top of the nose, depresses the eyebrow, and causes wrinkles across the bridge of the nose. Other nasal muscles contract and expand the openings of the nostril. Okay, I will tell y'all this right now. That's not as pertinent. That's not as important because we're not doing too much in the face of services like that. There are certain services where they do like where they do the wax and they pull your nose hairs out and all that shit, whatever. But that's what I call low percentage. There's a low percentage chance that you're going to see that on your exam. All right. Next, you got an ass load of muscles when it comes to the mouth. You have the levator and the depressor. Both of them are labia superior. You got the superioris and you got the inferioris. Okay. The levator labia superioris is the muscle surrounding the upper lip that elevates the upper lip, dilates the nostrils, for example, when expressing distaste. And then you got the inferioris. The muscle surrounds the lower part of the lip, depresses the lower lip, and draws it to one side, for example, when expressing sarcasm. I'll tell y'all this about both of the superiori, both of those. My clients always want to start moving all that shit when I'm trying to shape up their mustache. I'm just saying. Mr. Dr. Professor Ash, good morning. Ash in Alaska, good morning. All right. Next, you got the levator angularis. It's the muscle raises the angle of the mouth. It draws it inward. The mentalis at the mouth, muscle at the tip of the chin, elevates the lower lip and raises and wrinkles the skin of the chin. Now, that's something that I would probably be aware of, especially when you're doing shaving. All right. You have to be aware of these muscles twitching and things like that when you're doing the shaving. You got that sharp blade. All right. Cool. Where are we? Orbicularis oris at the mouth, flat band of muscle around the upper and lower lips that compresses, contracts, puckers, and wrinkles the lips. Next, risorius, muscle that extends at the mouth. All the rest of these are the mouth with the exception of, no, I'll take that back. The next few are at the mouth. Okay. Risorius, muscle that extends from the masseter muscle to the angle of the mouth, draws the corner of the mouth out and back. For example, when you're grinning. The zygomaticus major, mouth, muscle on both sides of the face, extends from the zygomatic bone to the angle of the mouth, pulls the mouth upward and backward, for example, when laughing or smiling. Next, you got the zygomaticus minor, mouth, muscle on both sides of the face, extends from the zygomatic bone to the upper lip, pulls the mouth upward, inward, and backward, for example, when you're smiling. Triangularis at the mouth, muscle that extends along the side of the chin, draws the corner of the mouth down. The masseter and the temporalis, mastication muscles, muscles that coordinate opening and closing the mouth, and the chewing muscles. All right, those are all for the mouth. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so you had 10 for the mouth. You had 4 for the scalp, 2 eyebrows, 1 for the nose, 10 for the mouth. Next, you got the ears, the auricularis superior. It is the muscle above the ear. It draws the ear upward. Okay. You have the auricularis posterior, ears, muscle behind the ear, draws the ear backward. Then you have the auricularis anterior, ears, muscle in front of the ear, draws the ear forward. Then you have the platysma, which is at the neck, broad muscle extending from the chest and shoulders to the side of the chin, responsible for depressing the lower jaw and lip. The sternocleidomastoideus, neck. It is a muscle that extends from the collar chest bones to the temporal bone in the back of the ear that bends and rotates the head. And then you have the trapezius, which is located at the neck. It is the muscle that covers the back of the neck, allowing movement of the shoulders. All right, so here's what I mean again. When you break it down, you got muscles of the scalp, face, and neck, and they even included the upper back. Okay, so 4 at the scalp, 2 for the eyebrows, 1 for the nose, 10 for the mouth, 1, 2, 3 for the ears, 3 for the neck. When you break those numbers down and you study it that way, versus just saying, okay, I don't know any of this shit, and you're looking at it as a whole, break it down into little pieces. Go look on the, actually, you are going to have to crack open this fucking book and look at the diagram and look at the table and correspond your muscles to the diagram. It'll make a lot more sense. But here's the biggest thing. You're going to be familiar enough when they ask the question, you're going to be familiar enough to do, if nothing else, a process of elimination, and to be able to do a educated guess. So if they ask you about the epicranius, you know it has nothing to do with the auricularis superior, because one of them, auricular, talks about ears. It has to do with ears. If you hear orbital, it's got to do with the eyes and the eye socket, right? So if those are in the answer key and you say, oh, okay, I know epicranius at least is dealing with the scalp, the muscle of the scalp. I at least know that much. Guess what? You can come to an educated guess. But guess another thing, you can come to an educated guess for all of these because you're going to be familiar with all of these. That's the biggest thing. Just get familiar enough. You don't have to know this verbatim. I don't know this verbatim. If you ask me just out of nowhere, where's the risorius? I don't know. But I know I can look at, once I start looking at this diagram and get familiar with the material, I'll say, okay, I know it's got somewhere to do with the mouth. I know it's not dealing with the ears and all of that good stuff. No, sir. I don't even know who you are. No, sir. No, sir. All right. So just off of that, we corresponded with a point of reference. Identify muscles and joints and their functions related to head and face, neck, shoulders, up and back. Okay. The next time I come on, we will have a look again and just see about the joints dealing with the head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Now, was that so bad? Was any of that really hard? No, it's just a matter of getting familiar. I don't think any of that is ridiculously hard. I don't think any of that is difficult to comprehend, especially when you just break it down into pieces and you say, okay, you got 3 here, you got 4 here, you got 10 here, you got 1 here, and you got 2 here, right? When you break it down like that. So if I said, all right, well, how many muscles can we identify related to the head and face, neck, shoulders, back? And you say, okay, well, dealing with the head, 4. Dealing with the nose, 1. Dealing with the eyebrows, 2. Right? Simple numbers. So now once you break it down to simple numbers, we'll break those numbers down even more. So you only got 4 muscles that you're dealing with at the location of the scalp. Then I say, okay, what are those for? And you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's the epicranius, frontalis, occipitalis, and the epicranial aponeurosis. All of them you hear epicranius got 2. Then the occipitofrontalis, the epicranius nickname is the occipitofrontalis. And then you just break those up. You got the frontalis and you got the occipitalis. That's how you break this stuff down. That's what makes it easy. That's why I tell you, dear student, you can do this, especially when somebody calling me at 12 o'clock at night, the day before they test, and they are just frightened of the next day. Ain't no need. Like I said, we just broke down one of the building blocks of the most failed, the most troublesome one, and it was not even that bad. Okay. If it is that bad, leave me a DM and I'll get back with you. If what we studied today was that bad, and you just say, okay, there's no way I can comprehend this one. There's no way I can get this right ever. Leave me a DM and I'll get with you. That being said, if you or anybody that you know can use my services, everybody has somebody that's going to barber school. Everybody has somebody that is either just starting their barbering journey, they're about to take their test, or they have taken their test and they have failed and they need my help, they need my services. I have a paid class where we go over more more pertinent private study, more high percentage questions. What do I mean by high percentage? That means anything 75% or higher that you're probably going to see on the test. We took that and we just chiseled that down to its own course. And what do I call it? Anything but Past Barber Theory. It is a paid course. It is pre-recorded. You do pay for that. It is pre-recorded. you do pay for that. Okay. But it is available. You can find it anywhere that you can find me. Okay. You can find me anywhere at Pierre Huey, Pierrehouey, on all social media platforms. You can send me a DM. I got links to all my stuff on there. And anything else beyond that, days of the week, Monday through Thursday, do public study like you just seen. Friday we talk about the Barber Practical. Okay, we go over the CIB no matter what. You guys need to know your CIB backwards and forwards. The more you know it, the more you have a handle on this test, the better you can sleep at night. Okay, I am your instructor, Pierre Huey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. You guys have a wonderful Monday. I know I will. Peace.